Hello everybody, I'm Danrvdtree2000, also known as Danrvdtree15 on Xbox Live, and welcome to a very special behind the scenes look of DCW. The reason I'm doing this behind the scenes look on DCW is a few reasons, really. It's because I'm gonna show you guys first of all, a few bits and pieces on. There was an old video that I did originally. I'm not gonna go through the entire thing, but we'll probably just show bits of it here and there, and also just tell you a little bit of the thing behind the video, like behind DCW in a sense. So I will show you in just a few seconds what the first original logo looked like, and then I will show you what it looks like now, and then also the comparisons. And as I'm going through it, I'll just tell you basically what this is all about. And so in just a moment I will go to it. So the whole reason is because my WWE 2K20 has not been completed yet. I need to make up some more DCW guys and maybe download a few more guys with movesets and entrances, and I will then eventually make up the universe mode for you to see. But until then, I hope you enjoyed this little video. As you can see, this here is the brand new logo that I use for most of my shows nowadays. I use it on my Create Arena and everything like that comes out. You'll see it, and wherever you see DCW, it pops up on my. And even as the one on the left, I just made up just now. I couldn't find the original one, which I drew up ages ago when I first started doing it on YouTube for you. But that's not where it all started. In fact, DCW originally started as part of my imagination, and it took inspiration from the Super Dingoes, which took place on YouTube. I made up my own little, roster, and taking people from taking people from fictional characters, and taking them and putting them into a game. And my own original characters, like the black hippie, white hippie. Larry Lion came a little bit later, but Cats in Canada, one of the originals. There's even quite a few that I took, which I will show you in a bit. A clip from one of my first original videos, and I will even go through the ideas from behind them all. So yeah, it all started with, of course, SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. I played it on my PlayStation 2, and I created some of the guys up. I played on to the 2007 on the Xbox version, Xbox 360, and when I saw it was on Xbox 360, now I only had an Xbox 360 and an Xbox Live, and I think that's when I decided to make my first video. And somewhere on my screen, in just a minute, I'm gonna just go through now. My very first video I made with DCW for YouTube was, again, it was inspired by the Super Dingoes, and of having original characters and original storylines. And I really appreciate him for that. I will have to thank him for giving me that idea of making your own brand and stuff and titles. But my first actual arena, when I was playing it on by myself, I actually didn't. I used the WCW arena, which was, I think, was on SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. SmackDown vs. Raw 2008, I believe, had WCW on it, and ECW. So because of that, I used the WCW arena to actually be my first actual proper arena for SmackDown vs. Raw 2008 when it came out on the Xbox 360. So that was pretty cool to have the arena side, my arenas, and I had the championships, the WCW championships, and a few other tag team belts. And I had some of the original characters, like I said, the hippies, Captain Canada, and all that. And I had some wacky character called Dude, and I had so many great ideas of potential that I could do with this. I thought to myself, when I saw the Super Dingoes, I thought I could do the exact same thing. And sometime, maybe a few years later, I finally had the bravery to actually go on Xbox, go on YouTube and do this channel. And one of my first DCW episodes was a battle royal. So look, a little taste into what I did. It was just basically me showing off my cores on SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. So I'm gonna look back at that actual video.
To the first ever episode of DCW.
So yeah, this is my first ever episode. So yeah, I introduced myself in a very excited mood, like I always do. This is my first ever video, and I gotta say, the people that are in this actual battle royal here, I will explain more about them. So let's go from the top left to the bottom right. Starting with SpiderMan, we all know who SpiderMan is. This is the SpiderMan that was based off of the Amazing Spider-Man from the cartoons and the comics. And to be honest, about 90% of the, in fact, the majority of the 90% of these are original. You know, me going off of my own thing. But back in the days, there wasn't the community creations, and so in the past, I would get a formula. I would print it off on a piece of paper, and I would get a formula, and I would look up. It would tell you how to make these characters and to make them look more realistic. So some of the ones that you see here that look really good are from a formula, and I copied it from the head all the way to the legs and the tire, and getting it perfect. So yeah, Spider-Man was one of those formulas characters that I created into SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. Then we got White Hippie and his tag team partner Black Hippie, which obviously this is his first look with the big bushy hair and the bushy beard. And the story behind the hippies they are stuck in the 60s, man. In their heads, even though life is going on, they are still wanting people to remember the good old days of the 60s. Even though they weren't born in the 60s, their parents were, and that was like one of the best decades to be alive, man, and therefore they are heels. Then I think that's, I don't know what that one is. I think it's 100 Man. I don't remember that guy in the green. I think it was just some random guy I made up. Where I just went crazy. Then we have Robocop, another guy made up with the formula. That's Hornswoggle. I don't know what he's doing there. When we got the first edition of Dr. Evil, I can't believe that I managed to make him look like that. Like, Dr. Evil is an original character that I used to actually just doodle on a piece of paper, and he used to have an arch nemesis superhero. Whenever I had time in school, whenever I finished my schoolwork, I'd just get a piece of paper and do these little comics. And that's my comic character come to life in this battle royal and my DCW. His arch enemy was Super Wayne. Originally meant again based off of. Now, Super Wayne in the actual DCW here was I didn't originally plan to put Super Wayne in here. I originally was going to make up Fireman Sam. And it went completely wrong. And so I went, you know what? This can be Super Wayne. Super Wayne was my imaginary, made up superhero. That was the arch nemesis for Dr. Evil. Which I drew as a kid as a comic. The next one is Captain Gantu from Lilo and Stitch. As you know, Captain Gantu worked part of the Galactic Federation and was only trying to get Stitch back from Lilo and Stitch. So I made him up as part of the formula again. Well, I think I did, at least by the looks of things. And so we all know who Captain Gantu is from Lilo and Stitch. Next up is, I think that is Paul Phoenix from Tekken 3. So yeah, Paul Phoenix from Tekken 3. Then next up, I believe in this picture we have Dude, as I was telling you about. He was a guy that just loved wearing purple. He dyed his hair purple, so it was like a cool, mellow dude. He loved the purple. But he was a 3-time DCW television champion. And we got, I believe it's Stubbs the Zombie. Stubbs the Zombie is one of my favourite video games I ever played, and I thought I'd like to put him in the DCW roster back in the day. Next up, I believe, is Fred Flintstone. I've had Flintstone on and off in DCW over the years. Former DCW Hardcore Champion and Tag Team Champion with Barney Rubble. And we also have there, by the looks of things, Captain Gantu. Not Gantu, it's Captain Gantu. We have Cobra Bubbles, who was actually in Lilo and Stitch as, I believe, the day camp. I've forgotten what he was now. It was the one making sure that Lilo and her sister were okay and stuff like that. So yeah, this is Cobra Bubbles. Then you got the Mario. Everyone knows who Mario is. It's just like, but this is the humanized version of Mario, because again, the certain specific parts that make the good Mario up in the later years weren't there yet. So this is my third attempt at Mario. Then we got my second version of the Ringmaster. This is the heel version of the Ringmaster. The Ringmaster is like based off of one of those classic Ringmasters that you used to get in a circus. So, but he turned heel at this point in time in my storyline. He started out as a babyface, and he used to make people cheer for him because he used to be a ringmaster of a circus, and he would invite people to come see his circus, and people stopped going to his circus, and he was like, you know what, screw you. So that's the Ringmaster. Then we have, I believe his name is Super Alien. Super Alien was just an alien from outer space that saw DCW as the first wrestling promotion to witnessing. So he came from his planet, decided to join DCW, and here we are. And again, this is Black Hippie. This is White Hippie's half-brother tag team partner as well. Again, wanted people to remind people of the good old days of the 60s. Then you got DX Monster, as this was a game you could zoom in as far as you want to take the picture. And DX Monster is he grew up. He was like a big dude who used to watch WWE, but couldn't afford to go to any of the events. Wanted to become a wrestler, and he would love DX, and therefore his nickname in our brand was DX Monster. Then we got a couple of people from Mortal Kombat. We got Liu Kang on the left and Kang Lao. Then we got the X-Men member of Cyclops. All three of those people I just mentioned, everyone knows who they are. Then we have Homer Simpson. Everyone loves a good Simpsons character, and the Simpsons have been going over for 30 years now. So I had to, at that time it was less than that, but I had to put Homer Simpson there. The Incredible Hulk, man. DCW Hardcore Champion, and I think DCW Champion as well, and Tag Team Champion was SpiderMan as well at one point. He's one member, the strongest member of the Avengers in my eyes. Don't take my word for I'm just an innocent little man. And also we got Guile from Street Fighter, so we had Paul Phoenix from Tekken, we had Guile from Street Fighter. We had Coltrane, baby, from Gears of War. This is the Gears of War 1 version of Coltrane. Again, another formula made up guy. We had Ben Grimm from the Fantastic Four. The Thing. It's clobbery time. Everyone knows about the Ben Grimm. If you don't, then I would suggest to look up some Fantastic Four comic books and even maybe watch the first Fantastic Four movie. Another original here, Captain Canada. Grew up watching Chris Jericho matches in the WWE. Couldn't quite make it in the WWE. He went for a trial match and he even met his hero, and even who trained him in and everything. But he said that I don't think you're about to make it, kid. So he came to DCW to prove his hero wrong, and he's been back and forth of being a babyface and a heel, but mostly heel. As he says that Canada rules. And of course we got Marcus Phoenix there, and this is his Gears of War attire. He got Pity the Fool and Mr. T, and of course we all know Jack Sparrow. And so let's have a look and see who drew number 1 and 2, and then I'll talk a bit more about DCW as I'll watch the video, pause it, tell a bit more. I'm not going to watch it until 28 minutes, but here we go. Dr. Evil and Super Alien starting things off here. I really don't remember that much about my original creation of Dr. Evil. There was so many different tattoos and designs. Look at that Super Alien, it looks really funny. Looks like a Ninja Turtle. What I'm gonna do here, I'm just gonna mute myself so I can watch it out. Next is Captain Gantu, who comes out. Not too bad, but obviously not too good either. Again, this is my first original creations. You can kind of make out that that's Captain Gantu, whether you want to say that it was. But again, I was young. I didn't really know much about creating out people. That's why I had formulas. And here's Hornswoggle. There's the Hornswoggle in 4th place. So yeah, he came down 4th, number 4. And his whole wrestling, it's like a little leprechaun. That's probably why I put him in DCW, to be honest. Who's coming up next? This Royal Rumble's pretty quick for the old games, I must admit. But yeah, the whole idea behind DCW, like I said, was just I did battle royals like this one, and I did singles matches. I did hardcore matches because it was the DCW stands for Destruction Championship Wrestling, so it was all about destruction. And so yeah, you got the original DX Monster in here. You got Black Hippie in there. You got Kangaroo and Liu Kang in there. Well, ironically, this is the one when you couldn't choose the entrance, the order, but hey, they came out at the same time. So yeah, as I was saying, DCW stands for Destruction Championship Wrestling, and I just thought it would be a great idea to do things like these type of battle royals, singles matches, tag team matches, triple threat matches, and as they all stood for Destruction Championship Wrestling, I thought it should be about destruction. So, for example, I would do Extreme Rules matches most of the time. So that's just a little preview of what DCW was all about. Then it evolved, and then we moved it all along to the WWE 2K14 and also WWE 2K16, which I'll even have a look at my first proper premiere video that was involved in WWE 2K16. There's some other characters that were brought into it then, and I'll explain a bit more about behind them. Now, the next time I had DCW, I had it on SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. And this is, going back to that Dr. Evil, that's the first time I had the Dr. Evil character as the blue. As I changed it from black to blue, and I'm kind of glad I did, because that look, it was probably from there on out on SmackDown vs. Raw 2009, was the way I wanted Dr. Evil to be. The first one was on 2007, 2008, but this second one was pretty damn a good change. So, you know, again, this right here is NWO Monster. This is the second variation of the DX Monster character, which I've only had the DX Monster character. Then I came up with his twin brother that used to watch WCW compared to WWE. The same type of fate happened, and here we are. We've got NWO Monster. DX was the opposite to NWO. NWO was all more mature, and therefore we had NWO Monster. At one point I had Evolution Monster, but I didn't really work out too well, so I stuck with the two NWO Monster right here. Stuff's a zombie with a much better look right here, so I think that I did alright with that. And now is another funny character which I can explain a little bit more of, Fat Elvis. I didn't realise that on SpiderMan 2009 I made up a brand new character called Fat Elvis, who is the funny one that lives in the UK. Well, back in the day, was this actual name Fat Elvis is based off of the EastEnders character Fat Elvis that was never seen on screen, and I thought I would bring Fat Elvis into real life. And because I based it off of Elvis Presley back for when he was fat, which obviously isn't really the proper Elvis look, but it's just a character that the name Fat Elvis is from EastEnders, and this is what I thought he would look like, because he was a character that would come up with dodgy jills, and just to look at the way the character looks like here, it's kind of based on, even though we never saw him on screen before, the name always pops up. It's hilarious. It's an odd one, I know, but yeah, let's take another look. Now, this is the very first use of Big Huge Ray, and I called him Steroid Ray because basically I made it Rey Mysterio, but put him on steroids. And this is what Rey Mysterio would look like if he was one big huge monster. It's got Rey Mysterio's moveset, his entrance, everything. That was very funny at the time. And because of the fact that most wrestlers take steroids, it was making fun of people that because Rey Mysterio is a small guy, so he may not actually take steroids at all. But it was the fact that it was hokey, it was crazy, it was insane. So I was just picking a random name that you'd think that would never take steroids, probably hasn't taken steroids, and that was Rey Mysterio. And I thought, yeah, someone like this is probably funny. And you go, Homer Simpson. Now there was the boxer. This guy is a Mexican boxer. That's his background story. Is that he's a Mexican boxer. He's wearing a mask because the Mexican wrestlers wear masks, and it also reminded me of the good old Ready to Rumble game that had these wacky characters that you could have. And this is the first appearance of Carl Johnson from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. And ever since then, I've had him in my DCW roster. I'll ignore that. This character, I believe, was made up by my brother. And I kept him in there, and just, again, it was just random. I let him create up somebody, and this is who he came up with. Again, another random character that I created up from top of my head, Dangerous Duke. He's a warlord from the 1900s or something like that. I can't remember his full story, but yeah, I think this is one time only appearance in DCW. The Judo Master, Mr. Daniel Sun. He was basically a Judo Master. That was it. Again, Canada makes a return here by the looks of things. Mario, he's back. He comes back and smoking. That's the Mask in his first appearance. I think he had 2 appearances in my DCW roster. I believe he actually comes back a couple of years later. But to June's perspective, June carries the Mask. Then there's my virtual self. I had my real self, and then I had my virtual self. Danrvdtree2000 at that time, of course, was my username, and so that was the one I played online with most of the time, making my virtual self. Yes, I gave myself a tattoo. I had to level overall height 80 in this version, but most of the time I would give myself overall 100. This is my first television championship scramble. I'm pausing the mute button. Yes, this is SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. I would say second best lot. And here we can see WWE Man makes his first appearance, and Dude is back, and Damien, the sidekick of Dr. Evil, is here, and Superman makes his first appearance in this video too. And I just thought this is also great, to be honest. I really enjoyed it on SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. It gave me more. Like I said, we had the WCW Nitro Arena. This was the first time I did. When I made him up and made all these guys up, and I think it was quite interesting. To be fair, yeah, 2011. This is the first one that had Superman in it, and I was really impressed with. Like, these are their first custom logos too, and I was really happy with the way that this one turned out. Like, and I also had the hardcore title a bit later on. This is Wolverine's first appearance, and again, like I said, with the Dr. Evil character, my evolution of him finally just like getting his wings and stuff, and you will see the evolution of some of my characters as the playlist goes on. I mean, like, it's so good to see my guys like involved. And here is the Family Guy's first appearance, and at this point in time, Peter Griffin was the champion, if I remember correctly. So this is like Peter Griffin's first official appearance. Because I was doing. He was the champion at a point, I believe. So I made some really good matches like before I started to do this officially. So yeah, DCW's not often this arena here. The WCW arena, we got Homer Simpson as well. So yeah, it was the battle of. This is before the crossover happened, so this was probably the one place you could see Homer Simpson go one-on-one with Peter Griffin. He was tag team champions with Bart Simpson at the time, so I really enjoyed making these characters and making these shows. I believe this is the first ever DCW pay-per-view, where I had it on WWE 2K16. As we had the Lucha Dragon. This is the first time I used the custom logo, and I had everything. I had DCW Destruction, and which I believe the first match is the Mario Brothers, and I actually, this is the first time having community creation, so these guys weren't made up by somebody else, and I enjoy creating this type of content. As you'll see the evolution of some of the characters that I make. Now this one here is Big Huge Sin Cara. Now, the Big Huge Ray, obviously the Rey Mysterio mask was not. The Rey Mysterio wasn't in the game, so I just copied him over, and instead of being Steroid Ray, the guy that plays Steroid Ray decided to put on the Sin Cara mask. So therefore, technically, now he's Big Huge Sin Cara. And now we went on to this guy that plays the character. I put a storyline where he went on to be Big Huge Kalisto. And then when Rey Mysterio returned in real life and they put him back in the game last a couple of years ago, he went to back to Big Huge Ray. So yeah, the story behind the Big Huge Sin Cara is exactly that. He one day decided to wear the Sin Cara mask and then he became Big Huge Sin Cara. Obviously, the word steroid I thought was a bit much for a comic thing, so I changed it to Big Huge. Rey Mysterio and Big Huge, Sin Cara, Big Huge, Kalisto. That's come on a long way since then. So yeah, this is SmackDown vs. WWE 2K16, and some of these cores looked much better for my DCW, and I just love the detail that I put into my arenas and my belts. It's the first time I had proper belts. Before I had I used the classic ones, like the WCW ones, like you saw recently in the tag team belts, and this is the first time I created my television championship, the DCW tag team belts, and the hardcore belt, and even the main championship belt with the DCW super heavyweight champion, or the DCW champion, that's like just the proper name for it. And this is my first proper pay-per-view, and I'm so proud of myself for making this pay-per-view for you guys. So the first matchup, of course, is this tag team cage match for the title belts, I believe. I love telling stories. I mean, yeah, I really do. And I got the Super Dingoes to thank because of that. Fred Flintstone makes his return, and this is the first time because I was a big fan of Achievement Hunter, this is the first time I started becoming a big fan of a little bit, because I saw Batman vs Superman, and I saw a lot of Batman related stuff, like the Batman Telltale series game. And I was I started to get into, couldn't just have Marvel in there, so I added DC. And again, there's Captain Canada, you know about, SpiderMan, you know about. So this is like the first time I had Master Chief from Halo in there. Someone created, and I downloaded him. And the first time I had Batman, I was on SmackDown vs. WWE 2K. And this is the time, again, when my editing skills weren't that much. I wanted to show what was coming up. But yes, this is the second time we saw Fred Flintstone, but it's a downloaded character. And also the first time I added the Achievement Hunter guys, like Jeff, Michael, Gavin, Jeremy, and Ryan. And so I thought really special having these, because they, again, the Let's Plays that I do on this channel were inspired by Achievement Hunter themselves, so what better way to homage them and to add them to my roster of the DCW. And also, this will be a first appearance of one of the, I think one of the first appearances of the Left 4 Dead people, which I actually made up myself. I downloaded the faces, I put the face captures, and I created these guys up myself. The DCW, I put them on DCW, and I must admit I did pretty well for the characters here. Like, I created them all up from 2 years in a row, and then I brought in another Left 4 Dead character, for the 2 characters recently, for my purpose here. So the Left 4 Dead characters were originally brought into my universe made in 2K16. So I thought that I was proud of that, and as you can see, Bill Williams, Bill, Lewis, and Francis, all 3 members, the original main members. I didn't put Zoe in because I'm not sexist or anything, but I didn't really have that much room for female superstars. And who's this coming to the ring now? Yes, this is Jeremy and his first appearance, and I believe the Achievement Hunter lads end up being in this matchup. And this is quite new to me. Again, they made their first appearance in this game, and again, this is my, just like I said, it's something that was started off with a small project, and it just, I know I'm going on, and this is the whole point. It's meant to be this long of a video. It's me going through like the ages, the different games, the different types of people I brought into it, and the story behind them. There'll be a part 2 of this soon. But this is just, got Jeff and his first appearance. And again, I just thought this was really good. And there's Gavin in his first appearance. I thought, the fact that I was inspired by a lot of people, and that to help me correct these up, you know, I would put these guys in there. Now, and also another load of people that, again, inspired me to do something like this was Goran Perkins. And Goran Perkins have done WWE Universe modes, countless of Universe modes on 2K14, from 2K14 to all the way to 2K20. And I haven't watched their videos in quite some time, but because they inspired me to make a WWE Universe mode as well, so I put them on my roster. So again, I put them on my roster for the last 3 games. But because of the fact that I don't watch that many Goran Perkins videos that much longer, I decided not to put them in 2K20 just because I don't really watch them that much anymore. But thank you very much for inspiring me. I do thank them. I know they probably ain't watching this, but anyone that is, I do thank them a lot to inspire me to make, you know, universe modes, including something like this. Here we go. Larry the Lion. One of the best creations I ever did create. I think it was 2K14 was his first birth, and this is the second edition because I had a custom, I had the Edge's theme song and everything like this. But yes, Larry the Lion to me will always be special, just because it was one of my first original creations on WWE 2K16 and 2K14, and it was over 100. And the story behind him is, I'm gonna pause it here for a minute, is that the whole story behind him was like the creation suite device that people go into the machine that people go into to create their personas. One day was left turned on backstage by I forgot to turn it off, and Larry, the janitor, that cleans off after when I cleans up the ring and everything like that. One day, he saw a mountain lion near the creation suite, and he thought that he was going to damage the machine, so he tackled the lion into that machine. And of course, when he walked out looking like this, and he has now got the predator instincts. He's a lion that can walk on 2 legs, and he's an over 100 because the janitor was actually an ex-indie wrestler that got injured but had to retire, so he got the nearest job working for me as a janitor. But then one day the creation suite went boom with a lion, a mountain lion, and him as in the DNA of a mountain lion and a human being combines equals Larry the Lion. Now, this is my first face cam video. As you guys can clearly see, and I believe it's WWE 2K18 or 2K19. Yeah, WWE 2K18. Eventually, I get down to the 2K19, 2K20, but this is my first ever pay-per-view, folks, and I put myself pretty much this entire bit here next to myself doing this. So yeah, this is like when I started to get proper guys in, such as Superman, such as Batman, all the ones that you'll see in a minute, and I will go through every single person in a part 2 video, and I will go and tell you who to expect for WWE 2K20. So this idea of WWE Bank Job, DCW Bank Job, it's based off of Money in the Bank, WWE's own Money in the Bank, and you get the DCW Money in the Bank Job briefcase, and it works the exact same way as the Money in the Bank would do in real life. You can cash in against any champion at any time, any place, anywhere. And of course, if you haven't watched this, and spoiler alert, then Ryan Haywood from Achievement Hunter wins the Money in the Bank briefcase. I recorded the entire thing But then the YouTube picked it up, and so I had to put 2 parts in. So this right here was like my first HD proper community creations back on 2K20, and this is Batman vs Superman, I believe. So yeah, this is the first proper HD 2K18 era from 2K18 to 2K19. They had a hardcore media. I have had plenty of pay-per-views for you guys, and there's going to be plenty more. So I'm just watching this last little bit here just to elaborate the last few added points about DCW. So I'll go over the points of what I've just made. 1. DCW originally was it was originally an idea brought to me when I was playing SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 General Manager mode with my brother on the PlayStation 2. And then I brought it to life on the Xbox 360 version, and then eventually, thanks to the Super Jingos giving me the idea to well, not giving me the idea, but giving me the inspiration of doing something like this, I put out a 30-man battle royal, and then eventually I went on to do a whole series and a playlist, and you'll see the evolution of some of the guys, some of my original characters. I explained a few others. There's been some one-off characters. There's been some characters that are still in the series that, you know, there are going to be characters that I can't find because there's none on the community creations on 2K20. There's some I can find. There's some I even had to make up myself, and to be honest, they look pretty damn good, and you'll see when I eventually do it, bring them into it, such as Master Chief and Marcus Phoenix. But yeah, I have enjoyed the ride and the success of making these videos. Yeah, the videos don't get that many views and not that many comments and not that many likes, but then again, that's my whole entire channel for you. I give people a chance to watch something different and something original, like the names and the characters, not necessarily, but there's one more detail that I'm gonna give you guys, which is a very special one that I came up with. I didn't originally came up with this idea back in the day, 2007, 2008. I came up with this last year, and that this actual universe where these guys wrestle in a wrestling ring, in arenas, in a company called DCW, takes place with superheroes and villains and YouTubers, obviously YouTubers, and all these people are real. They're all real. Batman's real, like his Superman identity is Bruce Wayne, real person. He lost his parents and everything. So the stories between all these heroes, they all live in the same universe, and everything like that. So that is what it takes to get. So when you see Batman vs Superman, that's just there's 2 superheroes going at it, and there's a force field. Also, there's a force field outside each arena that prevents these guys from using their superpowers. And there will be no guns or gadgets or anything that the game that's taken off of these guys, like these 2 superheroes, for example. So no kryptonite is allowed. There's no guns or weapons allowed to be used in a wrestling ring, because wrestling is to have fighting only. So using your bare fists and everything, and you must use wrestling moves. So there's a lot of rules and regulations that you must use wrestling moves. And yeah, I put some pop culture references here and there. But overall, that's what the whole basis behind DCW is that it takes place in a different universe. And so thank you very much for watching this short little documentary. I know it wasn't that short, and it's been like an hour of recording, In my book, it may be a few things I trimmed down that made it look shorter, but that is it for my explanation of what DCW is, and what it was, and where it's from, and what it's been all about. It started off in here, and then it ended up on the video games such as SmackDown 2007, and on the fully Xbox 360, all the way out to here. No matter how many glitches, no matter how many bugs, or whatever, no matter how long it takes, I will review the DCW on this game on WWE 2K20. And until then, until you get DCW and WWE 2K20, I'm Danrvdtree2000, also known as Dan2x15 on Xbox Live, saying thank you very much for watching this video, and bye bye. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you want to watch the previous video, click on the video on the left. But if you want to watch the playlist, then click on the video on the right. Also, feel free to click subscribe by clicking on the Master Chief icon on the top.